Children, no one wants a war. Nobody likes to fight in a war. If two nations can sit together to find a solution instead of fighting each other, that could save a lot of lives. And that's exactly the thought that has been reflected in this story. The best Christmas present in the world. But before I tell you more about it, let me introduce you to the author. So, Michael Morpurgo is an English book author, poet, playwright, and lyricist. He is best known for writing children's novels such as War Horse. His work is noted for its magical storytelling, for frequent themes such as victory of survival of an outsider, for character relationships with nature, and for vivid settings such as the World War I. Morpurgo became the third children's laureate from 2003 to 2005. So, let me tell you about the story that we are about to read. It is one of the Morpurgo story with the backdrop of the World War I. In this story, the main character describes his experience at the war camp to his wife through a letter. Now let's read the story and understand the details. The Best Christmas Present in the World by Michael Morpurgo. I spotted it in a junk shop in Birdport, a roll-top desk. The man said it was early 19th century and oak. I had wanted one, but they were far too expensive. This one was in a bad condition, the roll-top in several pieces, one leg clumsily mended, scorch marks all down one side. It was going for very little money. I thought I could restore it. It would be a risk, a challenge, but I had to have it. I paid the man and brought it back to my workroom at the back of the garage. I began work on it on Christmas Eve. I removed the roll top completely and pulled out the drawers. The veneer had lifted almost everywhere. Students, let's see the explanation of this part. The author found a roll top desk in a junk shop. It was in a bad condition but cheap. He thought that he could restore it, so he bought it. He began to work on it on Christmas Eve. Children, now come on page number 10. It looked like water damage to me. Both fire and water had clearly taken their toll on this desk. The last drawer was stuck fast. I tried all I could to ease it out gently. In the end, with force. I struck it sharply with the side of my fist, and the drawer flew open to reveal a shallow space underneath, a secret drawer. There was something in there. I reached in and took out a small black tin box, sellotape to the top of it. It was a piece of lined notepaper, and written on it in shaky handwriting, Jim's last letter, received January 25, 1915, to be buried with me when the time comes. I knew as I did it that it was wrong of me to open the box, but curiosity got the better of my scruples. It usually does. Inside the box, there was an envelope. The address read, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. I took out the letter and unfolded it. It was written in pencil and dated at the top, December 26, 1914. Children, let's see the explanation of this part. The narrator pulled out the drawer. He found that these had been badly damaged by fire and water, that roll-top desk. The man who sold it had told him that it was very old. It was of 19th century and made it of oak. The last drawer had stuck fast. He had to use much force to open it. When it opened, it revealed a secret space in it, and in it he found a small tin box. On the top of the box, these words were written. Jim's last letter received January 25, 1915. To be buried with me when the time comes. Inside there was an envelope with the address, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beach, Bridport. The date was December 26, 1914. Students, Let's see the second part of the chapter. Dearest Connie, I write to you in a much happier frame of mind because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you about at once. We were all standing to. Where they are standing to? Standing to means taking up positions. In our trenches. What is trenches here? Trenches is long deep ditches in the ground where soldiers hide from the enemy. So we were all standing to in our trenches yesterday morning. Christmas morning. It was crisp. What was crisp? The morning. The morning was crisp, and crisp means fresh and quite all about. As beautiful a morning as I have ever seen. As cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. I should like to be able to tell you that we begin it. But the truth I am ashamed to say is that Fritz began it. And what is Fritz? Fritz is a name for German soldier. Fritz is a common German name. First, someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite. Then they were calling out to us from across no man's land. What is no man's land, children? No man's land means an area between armies which no one controls. Means none of the country controls that area. So that is known as no man's land. Happy Christmas, Tommy. What is Tommy? Tommy is the name given for English soldier. Happy Christmas. When we had got over the surprises, some of us shouted back, same to you, Fritz, same to you. I thought that would be that. Students, think about the meaning of the phrase that would be that. This is the question for you. We all did, but then suddenly one of them was up there in this grey greatcoat and waving a white flag. Don't shoot, let's. Someone shouted and no one did. Then there was another Fritz up on the parapet. Children, what is parapet? Parapet means the wall at the side of the trench is known as parapet. And another, keep your hands down. Keep your hands down, the man. It's a trick, but it wasn't. One of the Germans was waving a bottle above his head. It is Christmas Day, Tommy. We have schnapps. What is schnapps? Schnapps means a German drink made from grain. We have sausage. What is sausage? Sausage means preserved meat. That is called sausage. We meet you. Yes, by this time there were dozens of them walking towards us across no man's land, and not a riffle between them. Little Private Maurice was that first up. Come on, boys, what are you waiting for? And then there was no stopping them. I was the officer. I should have stopped them there and then, I suppose, but the truth is that it never even occurred to me I should. All along their lines and ours, I could see men walking slowly towards one another, grey coats, khaki coats, meeting in the middle. And I was one of them. I was part of this. In the middle of the war, we were making peace. You cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Fritz officer who approached me. Hand outstretched, Hans Wolf, he said, gripping my hand warmly and holding it. I'm from Dusseldorf. I play the cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas. So children, that's all in this chapter. We will see the next part in my next video. Till then, take care. Thank you.